Good morning. I wanted to read a few verses that are very familiar to us in 2 Timothy. The Apostle Paul wrote at the end of his life, and just wanted to share these with you and how the Lord has used these a phrase in these verses in my life recently. Apostle Paul says, "For I am now ready to be offered, and the time of my departure is at hand. I have fought a good fight. I have finished my course. I have kept the faith. Henceforth there is laid up for me a crown of righteousness, which the Lord, the righteous judge, shall give me at that day, and not to me only, but also or unto all of them also that love his appearing." These, as far as we know, are the last words, some of the last words of the Apostle Paul, and very emotional and interesting chapter as he gives us something at the end of his life. And Paul, really, if you think about it, had an amazing life. We all know the Apostle Paul, and he had great victories, wrote much of the New Testament. God used him like few have been used. And he also had a very, very hard life, and terrible things happened to him. If you think about the rejection and the loneliness in prison, and I think about the whippings and the beatings, and at least once he was stoned and left for dead. The Bible indicates that maybe he did die, and God resurrected him. But he says this phrase after saying that, he says this phrase, "which the Lord, the righteous judge." And as he thought about his life, he says that God was there the whole time, directing and not just allowing it, but purposely having these events happen in his life. And he would be able to talk to God, the righteous judge, in just a matter of maybe days. We don't know how quickly after this he died. I was thinking about judges in our court system in America. The court system is, in a sense, not spiritually but civilly, kind of the last word in our lives. If you think about if a judge rules, or say Supreme Court rules, we understand this to be kind of the end of the matter, good or bad. One of the bad things that's happened to our judicial system, in my opinion, is, and I think many of ours, is that judges have been politicized, and they follow the culture. And they go by public whim. They don't follow the law. And in fact, sometimes they let sin decide their decisions. And wouldn't it be something in life if we knew that if things really went bad, or no matter how bad things got, that if we could just get to the judge, in this case, our case, the court system, it would be fixed, it would be righted. It would be taken care of, and the decision would be the perfect answer for us. We would have a judge that's has our interest, our best interest in mind, and he would interpret the law correctly. It might not go our way. Maybe we've done something wrong, and we deserve what we get. But we know that the decision would be the right decision. Earlier this month, my wife and I celebrated an anniversary, or a milestone of sorts. 10 years ago, Jane was diagnosed with stage 3 cancer, and it quickly spread from there. She went through major surgery, and then about 6 months later, she was cancer-free, and what a blessing that was. But about 6 months after that, cancer returned and began to spread, and she went through another 6 months or more of treatment, and then God healed her. Things were very dark, as you can imagine. There are very dark days when you're going through that, and many of us in this room have gone through that. And there are very victorious days, but there's also days when it's very dark, and you're not sure what's going to happen. Several of our friends, again, have gone through this, but it was also a very special time for us, and the Lord was very, very near and very close to us. And a couple of weeks ago, we were talking about that. And we talked about the fact that it had been 10 years ago this month. And we never could have imagined all that would happen in those 10 years. If you had told me back there that all this was going to happen, you wouldn't want to go through that if you're facing that. I think it's good the Lord doesn't show us what's immediately in front of us. But, again, the cancer came back a third time last year, earlier last year. And God saw fit to heal her again. And from one standpoint, it's been a bad 10 years. Cancer 3 times, I think about, heart surgery, blindness, the things that have happened to us. And then we thought, though, how the Lord, the righteous judge, has been with us every moment. And how he's blessed us all along the way. In the darkest times, we could go to him, and he would give answers. I love that phrase in Isaiah that talks about he makes the crooked way straight. And what a blessing that is. He worked in our family. He brought our kids closer to him. We had 3 wonderful grandchildren born in that 10 years. Our son found a wife that loves the Lord and is married. And God blessed both spiritually and materially in a great way, even in all that sorrow and all that darkness. And so the righteous judge knew exactly what we needed. And he knew that we now know that if we trusted him as we tried to, that he would take us through it. And I know that it doesn't mean that God will heal every time. We know that. We have very dear friends that God chose not to heal and has taken home to heaven. We understand that. But we know that if we trust him, that he will do in our lives what's perfect for us, even if he chooses not to heal. The Apostle Paul died after these words, probably by execution. Some of us have been in that prison where he died. And, you think about that and how it's not right, how unfair it was. He was killed by the very people that he gave his life to lead to the Lord. And but he knew that, again, he recalls this phrase, the Lord, the righteous judge, was directing everything. And so I just want to encourage maybe you this morning. You may be going through a dark time, an impossible situation. I would say if you don't know Christ as your Savior, not only can Christ take you to heaven if you trust him as your Savior, but beyond that, he'll guide you and work out all the things that are going to happen in your life for his glory. And I just want to thank the Lord for what he's done in my life and my wife's lives in these last few years, and just thank the Lord for God, the righteous judge.